Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price right now, as Bitcoin dominance for the first time in over a year is moving above its 50-week moving average. What does this mean for the Bitcoin price right now? As I record this video, dipping below 29,000 US dollars, I'm not too concerned about the Bitcoin price this weekend, but what I am concerned about is the overall sentiment in the market. A lot of people in the Discord are having fun with Terra and Luna right now, buying into it, expecting a massive pump. So before we get into Bitcoin, I want you guys to just look at this chart of BitConnect. Most of the people that are aping into Luna were not around when BitConnect was in the top 5 cryptocurrencies, a $2 billion market cap, and it had the same fate as Luna, moving to $0 US dollars and never recovering from there. I just want to start the video off with that because I do not think it would be a smart idea to even mess around with Luna, UST, whatever it might be. That project is done. It's gone. Even Binance's CEO today tweeted out, where is the Bitcoin that we're supposed to be in the reserves, right? So I'm glad I'm not crazy to think that, and that he also agrees with me. Where's the Bitcoin? Let's dive into the Bitcoin charts and what's happening, because this is an important video, Sniper. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm for this urgent update. A morning update because Bitcoin dominance is moving above the 50-week moving average for the first time in over a year. And so now we have to start preparing for market sentiment to start hedging their altcoins into Bitcoin. It's clear right now what's happening, and this could be the trend over the next few weeks. Bitcoin is only down 1.49%, but let's move into this altcoin list and notice how altcoins are suffering a lot more. Some of them down over 10%, like Band USDT, just with Bitcoin coming down 1.7%, right? And it's not just Band. You can see Kusama down 9%. And so what does this mean for the overall market and how we should prepare our portfolios? Well, here's what I'll say. First and foremost, the reason we're seeing Bitcoin dominance spike up is most likely because with what happened to Luna and Terra, it has now bred fear into retail and institutional capital that maybe some other altcoins will have that same fate. And that's clearly shown here with the altcoins outside of Ethereum. Notice how when that Luna and Terra situation arose, it started to sell off heavily. And so what does this tell us? Well, it tells us this, that right now, Bitcoin, even with the most minute downside, could cause altcoins to sell off heavily, and not just sell off into USDT, but also sell off back into Bitcoin. And so I would say that Bitcoin and Ethereum right now are the two safest assets to be in if we are expecting Bitcoin dominance to move up, because Bitcoin dominance has some ways to go. As if it truly is breaking this downtrend, what we'd expect is for Bitcoin dominance to move to around 60% to its 200-week moving average, where in the past it has found its leveling ground and its homeostasis. And so if that's the case, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two institutionally graded assets in the market because they both have CME futures trading, but no other altcoin does. And so here's what I'm expecting for Bitcoin over the weekend. I certainly do not expect Bitcoin to breach its recent lows. I don't expect it to come much further below 28,000. At max, it could dip just below 28,000 this weekend to bounce back up to test 30,000. I think this is the range that we're in during this weekend because of the way that traditional markets closed the week. For those that were tuned in yesterday, S&P 500 closed really strong, up 2%. But more importantly, look at MicroStrategy, closed the week 20% to the upside, and even Coinbase 20% to the upside to close the week. And so based on the way equity markets closed, I don't think Bitcoin has any justification to create new lows or even come and test the range support at 25,000 this weekend at least. That could change, but what we do know right now is that there's a lot of long positions on Bitfinex for Bitcoin. I wouldn't put too much weight to this because this could just be one entity, but I think the reason we're seeing Bitcoin longs skyrocket right now on Bitfinex is mainly because of the fact that The liquidation price for a 10x trade on Bitcoin right now at 28,000 is probably below 25,000 US dollars. And because there's so much volume here, we know there's a floor here. Maybe we're seeing an entity or several entities or maybe many entities feel comfortable entering into a long position for Bitcoin. And so here's what I'm expecting, snipers, and I'll wrap up this video. It's an emergency morning update. I might even have another video out later today. But I expect Bitcoin to range bound this weekend, not see any significant downside, and even potentially could test 35,000 through the latter part of this week. Maybe once some altcoins shed off, we could see that test of 35,000. But I think that the most likely scenario is for us to just flirt between 28,000 and 30,000 this weekend until we can get more answers from how equity markets want to open up the week and things of that nature. Ethereum right now, it has very strong support at 1760. I don't expect that to get tested whatsoever this weekend. 1980 is also a very important level for Ethereum. I actually think Ethereum will stay above 1980 for most of the weekend. Right now we're testing slightly below it, but 1980 is a very strong level of support. And it could even turn into a resistance, but I don't think it's a resistance just yet. I think it's more of a support. I think the downside we're seeing as I record this video is short term. It's clearly altcoins shedding into Bitcoin or just selling off. And the problem with that is that as altcoins sell off, it affects the total market cap, and then that affects the valuation of Bitcoin because the ecosystem is shedding off. Then it will also affect the storage of value in the ecosystem, which is Bitcoin, the digital version of gold. It will affect Bitcoin, right? The same way how equity markets have been shedding off trillions of dollars and gold is actually breaching major support levels. And I think it's had its worst week in over 11 weeks. And gold is supposed to be a hedge, but when equity markets shed off their valuations, you'll see gold also shed off some of its valuation. Now, what will usually happen is when we see a bounce, though, maybe we'll see some altcoins do well, but that's really where you have to stick to the fundamentally sound coins because we can assume that just like in the dot-com bubble, 98% of these altcoin projects aren't going to be around years from now. And so I think that the safest plays are obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum, both being the two most institutionally graded assets, but you can clearly see other altcoins like even Cardano right now down 6% below 50 cents. Actually almost tested its 2018 all-time highs when we saw this dip. So, every other altcoin is going to suffer, especially because of what happened with Luna and Terra. And now that Bitcoin dominance is moving up, there was obviously a catalyst for that. I know we've been monitoring Bitcoin dominance for some time, and it wasn't trending up. It stayed below its 50-week moving average until what happened to Luna and Terra. And that's why I always say this market is dynamic, snipers. Things are constantly changing. New narratives come up. But just remember this, 10% of markets are always fundamentals, 10% is technical, but 80% is psychology. And so what has happened recently is fundamentally a project failed, and now that 10% is affecting the technicals, and then now we're seeing the 80% of the psychology because it was a bearish fundamental factor that turned into a bearish technical factor. It's now causing an 80% bearish psychological factor. And that's why we're seeing sell-off right now. And so I think right now, as I record this video, all we're seeing is Bitcoin moving sideways. I don't see any reason to be concerned about Bitcoin's price this weekend, but we just have to keep in mind that Bitcoin dominance right now, as I record this video, is making a very big decision in the macro to move above its 50-week moving average. And so let's see what happens. If something more significant or important comes up, I will get another video update out to you guys. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support these 4-dimensional updates. Hope this made sense. Don't take too much weight into what's happening to the long positions on Bitfinex. It could just be one entity, but I think it's because even if it's one entity, they might have enough capital to where they're confident with their liquidation price, and that's why we're seeing longs move up. But it certainly isn't something to put too much weight on. I still would not be taking long leveraged positions just yet, but spot positions, of course, in Bitcoin and Ethereum right now, certainly a great time. And with that, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today, and I will see you all next time. On the Discord, by the way, I'll be monitoring the chat, and I'm there with you guys. A lot of people talking about Luna. Once again, I would not be messing around with Luna. It's just a gamble. You might as well go to the casino if you want to play around with that. And so discord.gg/profits is the link if you guys want to join in with our community of 25,000 traders, the #1 cryptocurrency trading community on the internet, and I will see you guys there. Snipers.